Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. Today we are going to talk about your soul mission. So why did you come to this planet? What did you incarnate in this lifetime to carry out? How are you going to serve the collective? We're going to get into your soul mission, life purpose, and today we have a selection of crystals for you to choose from. So I'm going to show you what each of these crystals look like up close, but first let me show you the numbers. So this is pile number 1, then we have pile 2, pile 3, and finally pile number 4. I also want to mention that I do have a Patreon up, so if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of my content, that's where you can go to find it. I just posted a reading all about messages from your inner child. That was the winner in the poll we just did, and the second runner-up is going to be where you'll be in 4 years from now. And there's also other winners that we'll probably get to. So if those topics sound good to you, you're interested in seeing those readings, head on over to my Patreon, and you'll also get access to over 75 other exclusive readings you'll only find over on Patreon. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So you get a whole lot. If that sounds good to you and you're interested in joining our little community there, then you can head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description to join us on Patreon. So now let me show you what each of these crystals look like up close. This is pile number 1. It's a really pretty periwinkle color. Then we have pile 2. Let me try to get around so you can see it in the sunlight. This is like a green jade crystal. Then we have pile number 3. And finally, pile number 4, some beautiful rose quartz. So of course, as soon as you made up your mind on which of these crystals is just calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it, pulling your energy in, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump into your pile. That will be the message, the pile with the message for you. And I also want to mention that I do private readings. So if you want to get my exclusive or undivided attention on whatever question you have, or whether you just want me to open channel, see what comes through, get some messages for you in your life, you can book that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half-hour session, a full hour-long session, pre-recorded, live. There's lots of different options to go with. So if that sounds good to you, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link for that is in my description. So thanks for watching, guys. Now, if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into pile 1. Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. So if you picked this crystal, this is going to be your reading. So let's get into your cards. I felt called to do an old school live shuffle today like I used to do. I still do it over on my Patreon, but I was like, I really want to bring that back. Okay, so we got the 9 of Swords, 4 of Wands, 7 of Wands. Okay, what is pile number 1's soul mission? What is pile number 1's soul mission? I feel like you guys have had a lot of people come at you. You have had a lot of like jealous people is what I'm hearing. Negative, nasty people, people who really come against you for like no reason. Like it feels like you're minding your business and you just get attacked. You just have people just like on you, you know what I mean? On situations that like you didn't deserve it. It's not like you were doing something wrong or you did something to hurt someone else, and yet you get attacked regardless. You have people, I feel like, coming for you, and I do feel like part of your soul mission is to overcome that, is to kind of prove that they can't get you. Like, I feel like there's something very inspiring about you, pile 1, and you do something in a very different way from others. And because you're very different, because you are looking outside of the box, sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. You're like that disruptor. You're kind of that usurper of the status quo. And I feel like you have a very powerful presence about you. There's something very impactful and different and unique and memorable about you that I think sometimes brings out jealousy in others and makes them want to take you down. I'm hearing, who does she think she is? So I feel like sometimes there's people that almost like take your boldness as arrogance, take your excitement and your positive energy and see it as like, oh, so they think they're better than me. And a lot of that is just their internalized insecurity and their projection. And I feel like you're supposed to prove some lesson about independence. I'm seeing Uranus. And I feel like for you guys, you are supposed to prove that being independent and doing things on your own terms is actually a good thing. And if life has been hard for you guys, actually I'm hearing that message that as Pluto enters into Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, it's going to get a little bit easier for you. So some of you guys may have prominent Uranus placements, like Uranus in the first house, Uranus aspecting the sun, the moon, the ascendant, or you may have a big 3 placement in Aquarius, So sun, moon, ascendant, or even something like Mercury. And whenever you have a major aspect in Aquarius, that means that you are going to look at things a little bit differently, a little outside the realm of what others consider normal. You're not going to be as willing to go along with the status quo, or like, oh, well, everyone's doing this because this person said so, or because that's what the crowd is doing. It's kind of like, have you ever been going somewhere and you'll randomly think that there's a long line? Like I remember I did this at the airport once. There was this super long line forming and I was like, okay, perfect. So this must be the way to get into like the check-in or the security or whatever it was. And turns out I don't even know what it was for. It was for like a random, I don't know, like a first class or like if you belong to like a certain upgrade system, whatever, you could go into this like lounge or something. And because there was like a small line, everyone assumed the same thing and got in line for that. And we all ended up realizing around the same time, and then we moved into a different line. But it's almost like the collective, we can be so stupid like that, right? When we defer our authority to someone else, we can end up wasting our time doing dumb stuff like that, waiting in line to nowhere. And it was kind of funny to see like the confused expression of the airline workers when everyone started leaving and going over. You could tell that they were like, why are they here? And then of course you feel so dumb. You're like, why didn't I go check? But everyone assumes like, oh, we must be waiting here for the reason. And anyway, I feel like you are that person that would see outside of that would go over to the sign and double check. You'd be that first person who would be like, well, let me go ask, let me go talk to someone, let me go check the signs or double check or whatever, because it was a confusing layout. It was kind of like the 2 sections were very near each other. So it was an easy mistake, but it was a mistake. And I feel like you would be that person who would see outside of it. But because of that, I think sometimes you get people mad. Like in a way, once everyone realized like, oh my God, we've been waiting in the wrong line. Of course you feel stupid, you feel dumb, right? You're like, oh, that's kind of embarrassing. And in a way, when you are that Uranian person who's willing to step outside the bounds and do something different and break a family curse or step outside a family structure or be the first person to do something in a group or in a collective or take an unusual job or be the first to speak out against something or whatever, there's a level of deep inside people feeling stupid, feeling like, oh my God, you're calling me out by your very presence, by the fact that you were willing to be brave. You're calling out the fact that I was acting like a lemming and I was just following what everyone else did. So I feel like for you, you are meant to have these kind of like conflict-filled situations where sometimes you feel like, can I just catch a break? Like, can I get out of this? Why am I constantly being attacked? And I feel like you're also being attacked because you are this main character, because you kind of suck the air out of the room in a good way. Like, people pay attention to you, people notice you, heads turn with you, and you have an impactful, just your energy, just you being in the room, people would probably be turning to look at you even if you never said a word. And so I feel like because of that, in a way, you may have also isolated yourself, done your own thing, or not trusted groups. A lot of Aquarians, because they do rule the 11th house of large groups, they don't trust groups. They can understand how dangerous groups can be. Like, I was just reading a book about life and death, crazy situations that happen. Like, it's called The Unexpected, I think. And anyway, one of the chapters in that book is about crowd crushes, because you wouldn't expect that you could like die at a concert because people are super agitated and excited to see someone perform, but it happens all the time. Not all the time, but it happens. And there's so many examples of this throughout the world and throughout history, of crowds killing someone because of excitement, or because everyone gets scared and starts running around and trampling people. It's not an unlikely thing, and crowds are very powerful. They can be a powerful source for good, but they can also be a powerful source for bad. They can be that person that elevates a leader and gives them, the power to make a valuable change and mobilizes to make some common good, or they can be the people that burn someone at the stake, for no reason. And so I feel like for you guys, you understand that you're not super trusting of crowds. And I feel like part of your life mission is to disrupt. It's to be different. It's to step outside. It's to forge your own path and have some kind of life path, or some kind of life progression, I guess, like job, family, career, all those things. That's very different. Maybe it could even be as simple as you're that person that instead of working a 9-to-5 job, you move to a farm in the middle of nowhere and you raise kids. And everyone around you is like, excuse me, don't you need a 9-to-5 job? Like, what are you doing? Selling quilts or something. Like, this is insane. You're not going to make money. But you end up influencing the collective. Maybe you decide to create a TikTok account and post about your farm life, and it inspires others, and or you raise kids that are going to do something really special. Or it could be you come from a really traditional community and you were expected to be a stay-at-home mom, but you get a high-flying career and you do something different. I feel like there's something about you that's really about breaking out of the matrix, maybe even a non-traditional work. So it may not be that corporate job, to be honest. It may not be that 9-to-5 that is very expected in most of the world. It may be something that others may find a little weird and maybe like, what are you doing? I almost feel like, because another thing about this Aquarius vibe that I feel throughout this pile is Aquarius is also very forward thinking. It has that psychic energy, but connected especially to the collective. So not necessarily with individuals, but with the collective, and seeing the direction that a society or a culture is going to move in. And I feel like for you guys, in a way, you are able to read those tea leaves of like, what's going to happen next. So the people that may be saying, oh my God, you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? You quit your job to, I don't know, become a bookseller. But in a few years' time, book selling, I don't know, books become like 10 times more valuable for some reason. There's a paper shortage or something. And you end up making a lot of money and being a success because you're able to read the collective. Or you become an organic farmer and all your friends are like, what are you doing? You had a really nice job. And then there's a huge organic food movement and you end up making a lot of money and having success. But I feel like there's something strong about this, about marching to the beat of your own drum and doing it differently, and kind of facing that scorn and that rejection that none of us want to deal with. None of us want to feel like the odd one out, or the weirdo, or the loser who's, doesn't really have a collective that they're a part of. But I feel like you wear that mantle so well. So some of you guys may be loners. But I feel like you're doing something. It's also like, I feel you have a very strong mission to serve the collective. And it's more powerful than other people's, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like, of course, we all have soul missions and they're all equally important in a way, but I feel like with yours, there's something powerful and impactful that some of you are supposed to do. And maybe if you had that very traditional family or friend group, it might hold you back, because when we're, afraid to disappoint our parents, afraid to disappoint our friends, we are so worried because we have to focus on putting food on the table for something. Those are legitimate responsibilities. And so it can take us outside of our individualistic mission. And of course, that's okay. And it's such a valuable mission to, say, raise kids or to sometimes help a family member. But I feel like yours is a very individualistic mission, that maybe sometimes if you had those other concerns, or you were very plugged into like a certain matrix or a group, then you wouldn't be able to move the collective forward in this kind of disruptive way. So I want to pull some cards from this deck for pile number 1 of what is their soul mission? What is their soul mission? Details. Okay. Some of you guys may be intellectuals, and maybe a reason you are supposed to, or a soul mission, I guess, that you have, is to either write a book or to communicate something to the collective, because we also got the Knight of Swords and then details, which I always see this card as kind of a writing energy or a communicative energy. It definitely does give me Knight of Swords vibes. It can talk about a deep thinker, someone who's a great thinker, someone who is great at puzzling things out and has a very deep mind and can see things on a deeper level than others. So it may mean that you're supposed to share your wisdom, your guidance with the collective somehow. You're supposed to push forward certain ideas that others may not be able to even have or channel or get that divine guidance. And I feel like for you guys, maybe there's a book idea you have, maybe there's an idea for a YouTube channel, but there may be something about sharing information, having a unique perspective in terms of synthesizing information. Some of you guys may have a prominent Mercury in your chart, Mercury aspecting the ascendant, the sun, the moon, or a Gemini sun, moon, ascendant, or Virgo sun, moon, ascendant. But you may have a very prominent Mercury where you are supposed to, or Gemini, Virgo, Mercury, where you are supposed to bring through information and communicate in some way. I feel like your mind is very brilliant and you have a sharp way of thinking about things, and you are supposed to share that somehow with the collective. I also feel like Spirit is saying something about sometimes you get angry, or you're like, oh, I'm fed up with this, or like there's some kind of like energy of you almost getting mad at the collective, and they're saying this is not a bad thing. So if you ever feel like, yeah, but if I shared my opinions, I don't know, I'd get canceled and I'd be too harsh and I'd be like ranting and raving and no one would want to listen to it. Oh, I just dropped a dice, so that's made a lovely noise. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But yeah, I feel like whether you guys are afraid to make people mad or disrupt things, or if I said that people are going to get offended, I'm hearing that that's okay. It's almost like you need to be willing to go there and to be uncensored and to say exactly what's on your mind. Because I feel like when you get annoyed or angry, or you feel like a situation is totally unfair and you're kind of in your feelings about it, that may be when you're channeling the most powerfully. So there's something about you being very unfiltered with what you think, and there's something about you using that righteous anger, using that like, oh, I'm so mad about this, like when you're at your best, you know what I mean? So I feel like for you guys, there's a message for you to not hold yourself back, not edit or filter or try to appease people with what you're saying, but just to kind of give it to them straight. You know what I mean? Like straight, no chaser. With alcohol, that means don't get, with when you order a drink straight, no chaser, most of the time with the drinks, it's like a vodka with cranberry, or there's a mixed drink with lots of different mixers that they would put in, and juices, and other spirits that maybe would affect the taste. But when you're taking it straight, you don't want anything else. You want the real thing, you want the full alcohol content. And I almost feel like that's the vibe where you're supposed to communicate things completely brutally honestly. I feel like you are a channel to the other side, pile one, and the other side will give you guidance. You are a great communicator, is what Spirit is saying. You're a master communicator. You may not feel that way. You may be like, me? Really? I'm a master communicator? But honestly, I feel like you really are. You're supposed to bring through this information. And it may be a different style, or it may be because they're bringing up, for some reason, Pisces Mercury, and they're showing me, of all people, Shira 7. She's a Pisces, and Pisces is not exalted in Mercury, but she's a Pisces sun. I don't know her Mercury, but she's been such an excellent communicator when it comes to like femininity, I guess, and whether someone likes her or not, I don't really care. But my point is we all have different ways to serve the collective, and sometimes we think that the only way to bring through information is to be like very like rigid and stilted and kind of Virgo attention to detail. And that can be a beautiful way to serve the collective, but there's so many different ways to do it. You can do it with your Pisces way of like making jokes and laughing the way Shira 7 does, or you can do it in a bombastic Aries way. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to communicate. So however you feel the need to communicate, I do feel like you are supposed to be a channel, and you are supposed to get those downloads and then bring them down to the collective. Let me get some astrology dice. Wow. I love it. So we got the North Node. I mean, this is a major destiny for you. And the North Node, of course, connects as well to past lifetimes. So for you guys, you may have past lifetimes where you were supposed to, where you also did this. I feel like in a way you may have been a scribe or a sage. That's what I'm hearing in my mind, in past lifetimes, where you channeled, because when you think about in many like different spiritual traditions throughout the world, whether you're talking about Northwestern Europe, Native American tribes, lots of cultures all over the world, they would have someone who would talk to the divine and then bring it down to the world, right? So in like Rome, it would be the Vestal Virgins. Of course, like I said, in Native American cultures, they'd often sometimes consume a substance to make them be able to really trance out and then reach the astral realm and then bring it through. But I feel like for you, the downloads you get, the feelings, the instincts, the like, I should say this, that may be just straight from spirit, and you don't even need to consume any drinks. You don't need to do anything to alter your consciousness. But there was lots of roles like this in the collective. So maybe there's something about you sharing your perspective. We also got the 11th house, aka Aquarius. So that confirmation of that Aquarius energy I was picking up on with you really strongly, that you're supposed to do things very differently. And the 11th house, of course, is a house of lots of people. So the collective, large friend groups, etc. And so again, I feel like you're supposed to share this message with the collective and kind of be that beacon, or that, I don't know, lighthouse. They're showing me a lighthouse like beaming its light out in the dark, and people like using you as some kind of a guide. We also have Leo energy. Leo is about taking center stage. Leo is about not being afraid to put yourself out there, not being afraid to be the center of attention. So I feel like you're really being called to step into the front, step forward, stop messing around, is what they're saying. They are saying for you to stop holding yourself back or doubting yourself, and to lean full force into this, because there's something you're supposed to share. It's almost like the more honest and authentic you are, the more success you're going to find, pile one. So this is about you truly not holding yourself back anymore, throwing off any labels or any attempts to restrict you or tell you you can't say that, or why are you talking about that, or like, oh, that's too controversial, don't mention that. I feel like you are really being called to push that away and to step as deeply and authentically as you possibly can into your truth, and not allow anyone to tell you what you can or can't say. Because I feel like one of your life missions is to throw off all those chains and not let anyone tell you what to do. You know, it's reminding me of, like, in those cultures, that person, that spiritual leader, always had an exalted position, so they were somewhat protected, right? And so if they said, oh, there's like a famine coming to the city or something, people wouldn't get mad at them because they're like, oh, don't say that, that's negative. The way I feel like a lot of times when someone's channeling something negative in our modern society, people kind of have an urge to tell them, well, just shut up, you know, you're being negative. But the reality is that these people are seeing something on a deeper level. And in most of those societies, they would be very highly listened to. And I feel like in a way, that's why part of you is like, well, why can't I say that? I should be able to say whatever I want because you felt this way. This is what you did in past lifetimes. You channeled. Let me get some message cards for you as well to end off this reading. But we want to know messages for what pile number 1 soul mission is. Discovering truth. Oh my God. Wow. You stand in the light of truth, embracing enthusiasm. Shout to the heavens with happiness. Shout to the heavens is really sticking out to me. Like, I feel like they want you to spread this message far and wide. They want you to say what you're feeling. If you think about someone shouting, they're not holding themselves back at all. They're not being quiet. They're not being delicate. They're not dancing around the issue or trying to appease someone or trying to, like, gently tell them, like, well, I think maybe. If you're shouting, you have conviction in what you're saying. You know, you are convinced of it. And I feel like you really need to trust yourself and trust that even if you do get pushback in the short term for whatever these changes are that you're supposed to make or whatever you're supposed to say, communicate. This doesn't even have to be like communicating when it comes to like only current events or politics or straight like events. It could be you're supposed to put out a fiction, but you're nervous because you're like, this is so weird. I don't think this is a real genre. This is going to be, I'm trying to write fiction, but like, I don't think there's a book that's been brought out like this before. And I don't think anyone's going to publish this. You may as well just go for it. I feel like you're going to be protected. The more you're willing to lift your voice, the more you're willing to say it, and the more you're willing to step outside and stand alone, pile 1, I feel like the more protected you're going to be. Because there's some energy with you needing to stand alone, needing to have an independent, you may have a north node in like a loner one of the signs or the houses. So by that, you could have a north node in the 1st house, the 2nd house, or the 11th house of Aquarius, because those all oppose kind of romance relationship houses. So it could also be a north node in Aries, Taurus, or Aquarius. And I feel like for you, you are supposed to kind of, like, a lot of people, they stay in relationships out of fear. They continue talking to their toxic family out of fear. They continue at that horrible job that they get treated badly at out of fear. And you are supposed to throw off those mantles and those shackles of fear and be like, I'm listening to myself and I trust myself to be able to succeed in whatever this is. I know I'm telling the truth. I'm not afraid of it. I know I'm protected. Watching clouds, lie back, rest, and relax. What is pile number 1 soul mission in this lifetime? You may have to watch your sleep and make sure you take the time to sleep and also to ground, because you're bringing through so many downloads in this lifetime. You may have psychic abilities and be very connected to the other side, be empathic, in which case you may need to do things to kind of diffuse that energy, suck that energy out. You may have to do regular spiritual baths, Epsom salt baths, to drain that energy that you pull out from others. You may have to use crystals and sage your house, or use Palo Santo or incense to protect yourself. But I feel like for you guys, your energy is very like spiritual and very divine. You may also be connected to the sky and the clouds, because that's an Aquarius thing. Uranus is the sky god. So for some of you guys, even being up in the clouds somehow, staring up at the clouds, or living in like a high rise may be helpful for you, because I feel like you do bring through those downloads kind of from the sky. But I think you are going to have to do things to protect yourself, and this may involve a level of isolation, because a lot of spiritual people, they need to take time away from others. They can't just be 24/7 social, because they do get so much energy from others, from being around others. So yeah, that is what I have for you, pile one. I hope it resonated. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you, hearing your thoughts, your observations. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about messages from your inner child. That was the #1 winner in the poll we did of new readings, and the runner-up is going to be where you'll be in 4 years from now. So if those readings sound good to you, head to my Patreon. You'll also get access to over 75 exclusive readings that you'll only find on Patreon. And you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos, so they get posted over there first. So if all that sounds good to you, head to the link for my Patreon underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. And if you would like to get a private one-on-one session with me, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and book a time slot with me. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile two, welcome to your reading. So if you picked this green crystal, this is going to be your reading. So let's get into your cards. We're going to do a live shuffle. I was just feeling called to do readings like I used to, which is the live shuffle. I still do it on my Patreon, but I was like, let me bring it back to YouTube. So we got Justice. Okay. So what is pile number two's soul mission that they came to this planet to carry out? Two of Wands. What is pile number two's soul mission that they came to this planet to carry out? The Justice card. The Devil, or excuse me, Judgment card. So we got the Justice and the Judgment card, the King of Wands, King of Swords, Nine of Cups, and the Devil. I'm hearing hold people accountable. There may be something about you teaching people accountability in some way, like consequences. There may be a harshness to you, pile two, where you are that person who like will call out bad behavior in your family or in some kind of power structure around you. You may be that person that like will hold people's feet to the fire, or be like, well, you said blah, blah, blah. And kind of like that person to enact justice and to let people know when they did something wrong, and to pay attention to all those little details, all those things that other people may want to sweep under the rug and pretend like I never said that, or that didn't happen. It's almost like, you know how in America, America gets a lot of flack for having a litigious society, and like, oh my God, someone's suing this company again, and people will sue anyone in America. But actually, America has some of the best consumer protections because of that. If you get scammed, if you get robbed by a company, like it's a big deal. And so a lot of companies don't do that stuff. And it's actually a lot more common in many places in the world that, you know, a company may overcharge you, or they may steal from you, or they may charge you a different price because you're a tourist. But if you did that in America, you'd be in like huge trouble. It would not be considered okay to be like, oh, this person's a tourist from a rich country. Oh yeah, let's charge them double. But in many countries around the world, that's totally normal. And that's because America has a litigious society. And if you got found out doing that, you'd get sued into oblivion. So you know, people talk bad about kind of like, oh, someone's gonna sue, or just get over it, just be easygoing. But it's actually something that really protects others. That person that's willing to stand up, that person that's willing to be like, hey, this is not okay. Stop doing that. As much as we may be like, oh my God, you're being harsh, or that's, you know, just chill. I feel like you have that energy where you would hold someone's feet to the fire. You would call them out. You would find the details of like the customer or consumer complaint line, and you would like hammer them and be like, you need to do this differently. I feel like for some of you guys, you did come into this planet. You may be that person that sometimes people tell you, why can't you let it go? Or you're just being too, you know, you're being like OCD about this. Why don't you just relax? They're showing me Aaron Brockovich. So you may have some kind of life mission with activism, or with advocating for the less fortunate, or with even like paying attention, because they're showing me a lot of Virgo energy. And Virgos have such a great attention to detail. They are great surgeons because of that. They're great editors. They make so many writers have strong Virgo placements because they pay attention to all those little details. You know, I always say, like, if you're going out to a party and you're like, oh, well, this shirt, I love this shirt, but I did spill some mustard on it, but it's tiny, it's a tiny stain, no one's gonna notice. A Virgo will notice. Or if you're like, I didn't paint my toenails, they're a little grown out, you know, I haven't painted them in like 3 weeks, but no one's gonna notice. You can't really tell. A Virgo will notice, you know, and that can be frustrating to be on the receiving end of. But again, that attention to detail, when it's used for good, nothing comes close to how, you know, that can be so impactful for good. It can be like, because we can have that sloppy kind of like, oh, it's fine energy, but you don't want that from a surgeon. You don't want that from an editor. You know, we can be in like our Pisces, like, hey, it's fine. And that can be great in many situations, but not if your surgeon comes in and they're like, hey, just gonna relax. I'm doing some brain surgery on you, but you know what? I'm not sure quite the right area I'm gonna operate on, but I'll figure it out. It'll be no big deal. Like, no, no, no. You need to know what you're doing. And I feel like you have that precision. And sometimes people may get mad at you for that, or they may try to get you to like relax and chill out. I feel like you're the kind of person who notices when something's off, notices when someone's lied, or when someone hasn't done something right. And I feel like one of your life missions is to shine a light on issues that other people try to brush under the rug, or try to act like, hey, it's not a big deal. And you kind of hold people's feet to the fire a little bit. Okay, this is totally different, but I guess this is another life mission, or maybe there's multiple people combined into the same group. They are showing me a table setting, and it's like beautiful, like a beautiful dinner party, or a really lovely, yeah, party, get together, gathering. I feel like for some of you guys, you have a life mission to bring people together and to make people feel at home when it comes to like a party or home interior design. I feel like you're really gifted at that, or cooking and making people like gather and love the food they had and like have the best conversation. I feel like you're really good at bringing people together, and possibly good with different friend groups, or with managing relationships and making people feel really comfortable. It's interesting because I'm like, these are definitely very different vibes, but maybe y'all are slammed together into the same pile or something. I don't know. But I feel like you're almost that person that you could sense when someone's feeling shy, or sense when someone's feeling nervous, and kind of give them that like nudge to go and talk to someone, or go and introduce themselves, or let me introduce two people. I feel like you have a vibe about you of kind of seeing people's flaws, but in a way that you want to help them. That's so Virgo, because Virgos, they see people's flaws, but they are a serving energy. So people are sometimes like, oh my God, Virgos, they're so critical. And they are. And it can be hard to be on the receiving end of that when a Virgo goes into full like not self-improvement, other improvement mode. And, you know, your best Virgo friend starts being like, so you need to fix this. You know, you have like a social problem with blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, oh my God, You don't have to tell me all my flaws, but they truly do it out of a sense of wanting to help. And it's really one of the most service, if not the most service oriented card, I would say the most service oriented energy in the whole zodiac. So they truly do it out of a sense of like, I want to help you. I want to make you better. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to, just make fun of you or something. I am trying to help you. And I feel like you have that energy. And if you let a Virgo really kind of come in and like make you over and like work their magic, as ego destroying as it can be to be on the receiving end of that, and as much as it stinks to have them point out all the things that you were like, I'm so glad you noticed that I haven't washed my hair in 3 days. I really thought I had styled it nicely into a bun, but I'm so glad to know that that's very obvious, and it can be very hard on the ego. But if you can let them, they will transform you like Cinderella and her fairy princess or whatever, the fairy godmother. They'll whip you back into shape. And I feel like you have that ability to kind of see people's gifts and see people's like hidden, things that they could bring out and improve about themselves. And there's something about you kind of like pushing people. And sometimes I think you don't get the credit for that. You may feel very like, I was trying to help, and now if someone's mad at me, I was trying to improve this person and they got offended. But I think that overall, that is one of your life missions, is to kind of nudge someone into their fullest destiny, their fullest potential. I want to get into these cards. So let's see what they say. For pile number 2, we want to know what pile number 2's life mission is. Life mission for pile 2. Stuck in the mud. Home. I'm telling you, you have a connection to home and to improving the home, or making beautiful homes, or making beautiful dishes that make people feel at home, hosting dinner parties, all that jazz. Spark and spirit of place. You may literally be a great interior designer or architect, or someone who can go and see how a room needs to be laid out and how a party needs to be, like what kind of hors d'oeuvres to serve. And because like, if you ever read, I love the book Martha Stewart Entertaining. I was obsessed with that book when I was a kid, when I was like 11 and 12. I literally think I memorized that book, even though it came out in like 1980, but I literally loved that book as a child. I found it and just became obsessed. And it's such a good book, and it gives me such Virgo energy though from Martha, because she is such a perfectionist. But the end result is these like impeccable parties. So it was written by Martha Stewart, and of course she's known for like how she goes over the top with, all her things. Like she won't just be like, oh, so we're making a Thanksgiving turkey, just throw it in the oven. Everyone knows Martha Stewart would be like, okay, so we got the imported butter from France, and then we're going to put some fleur de sel on the top. And I grew these herbs fresh in my garden. I picked them at moonlight. Like, she's so like perfect attention to detail. But what you see in that book is how she crafts like parties out of it, and how you could only imagine that being at these parties, the attention to detail she puts is so incredible, where you're like, this sounds like the best party I've ever seen. Like now it's kind of a trend, I think, on TikTok where people make floral ice cubes, but I had never seen that before until Martha put that in her book. And that was for like a Russian themed party, and the ice cubes are filled with roses, and it just is so dramatic. And I still remember all these different parties she would host, like the midnight omelet party, and how you should have staff there to make the omelets, and how you should have a section of different types of fillings, and then the dessert, and the way that it should be arranged so people can like file down into the omelet station. And she just has such a perfect attention to detail, and I feel like you're really good at that. And the thing about that is that when someone's willing to take that control and kind of be the bad guy that Martha Stewart was in many ways, or she was made out to be, when you're willing to be that person that's like ordering around the staff and telling someone, these roses are too long, they are 14 inches, and I ordered 12-inch long roses. it may seem like, oh my God, you're being a jerk, but it actually allows everyone else to relax, because I guarantee you, no one at those parties had to do a thing. No one at those parties showed up and actually had to start chopping up vegetables, or, oh, sorry, like the omelet station is broken down, so maybe, you can go get fast food after because sorry, we ran out of eggs. You know what I mean? No one had to worry about like, oh, if I have a dietary restriction, I'm not going to be okay if I'm gluten free, because Martha had, I know gluten free wasn't a thing in the 80s, but anyway, Martha Stewart would think of all those things, and she would have like 20 different options. And that allows everyone else to relax. And that's some of the credit Virgo doesn't get, is like, people will talk about how OCD Virgos are and how annoying they can be and critical, but it's through the fact that they're willing to like kind of take that control and be that person to like manage a lot, that allows everyone else to kind of like sit back and chill and calm and relax. So I feel like for you guys, interior design, throwing parties, hosting things, having that attention to detail, and really taking control of it is actually something that is a beautiful life mission for you. I feel like you are that person that would push someone, and it is kind of uncomfortable to people, where they may be like, oh my God, leave me alone. Like, but I feel like it makes a huge impact on them. Like maybe that person who is like, well, I really like, maybe they don't know that they're good at English, and you're like the English teacher who would tell them like, your writing is amazing and you are really good at writing and you should like pursue that. And they don't really even want to hear that. And they're like, what are you talking about? But it stays in their mind, the fact that you kept pushing them that you should take an extra writing course, you should go into publishing somehow. And even though they may have been resistant to that, it seeps into their consciousness. And then years later, when they're deciding on a major at college, they decide to go into writing because of the words you said. I feel like there's something about you really being called to push people along into their gifts, their destiny, seeing other people really clearly as what they are, and being able to kind of have that backbone as well to stand by it, and to like not run away scared because, oh, I don't want to offend you, or like, let me be on your good side, or I just want everyone to get along. Again, that's why like I feel like Pisces and Virgo oppose each other. Pisces is kind of like the let's just be chill, whatever energy. And then Virgo's like the very rigid energy. They both want to serve and help the collective, but Virgo's kind of more willing to be the bad guy and be the one who like takes on that responsibility, isn't just going to trance out in the astral realm and hope it all works out, but is going to like take those active steps to make it happen. And I think a lot of that, it's almost like domestic labor. This could even be having a mission that relates to being a mom or a parent, where of course like the good parents often will get flack from their kids. They'll be the one that's like, you're grounded, or no, you can't go out and spend all night out with your boyfriend and then come back at 8 a.m. Like, no, you cannot do that. And as much as that may be unpopular with their child, that may be that lesson for them, and the perfect environment for a teen to grow up healthily, much more so than a parent that's just like, come by whenever, and who cares if you're spending all night at a party, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like for you, you create a lot of structure that allows others to thrive. This could even be being a manager at like a store, or a manager at work, or someone who has a position of authority and is forced to take unpopular decisions or take unpopular stances, and doesn't get that credit of like, thank you so much for putting limits on me. Because no one's usually going to say that, but it makes a huge difference. We kind of need like those rules and regulations for society to thrive. So let me get into astrology dice for you. Pile number 2. What is their soul mission? So we got the 3rd house that is ruled by Mercury, and specifically Gemini. We have Aquarius, and then we have Saturn. Saturn technically does rule over Aquarius as well, but specifically in modern astrology, it rules over Capricorn. So we have Gemini, Aquarius, Capricorn represented here. So two Saturn ruled signs. Saturn is about restriction. And like I was saying, I feel like for you guys, you know, it's only through the restrictions of Saturn that we can grow. It's only through certain rules and regulations that things are able to be fun. Sometimes it feels like, well, if I want to have fun, I shouldn't have any rules. But it's kind of like if you're playing soccer and there was literally no rules of play and you could touch the ball whenever and you could tackle people and you could punch them in the head. It wouldn't be as fun of a game. It's through those rules that maybe seem arbitrary and frustrating, that like, why am I not allowed to touch this ball with my hands? That allows it to be like the most popular sport in the whole world and people have fun with it. So sometimes Saturn placements are kind of that unpopular person who is going to put the rules up and going to tell someone no and be like, we're not doing it that way, even though that may go against the popular opinion or what someone else wants. And with Aquarius as well, that rules over groups, 11th house of groups and large friendship groups and people. I feel like you are also a good connector. Like you really make people feel comfortable. You may be that person who would make an excellent matchmaker or would introduce two disparate friend groups that maybe didn't know each other and people are like, "Ugh, they're not going to get along." But you can see that vision of like, let's just get them together. Let's throw a party. Let's get some alcohol in them. Trust me, they'll have a blast together. I feel like you have a really beautiful eye for who's going to get along with who and for dealing with people. And yeah, I feel like one of your soul missions is to kind of like nudge people towards their destiny. You see the potential in others. You see what they could be. You don't just see how it is now. It's also giving me the vibes of someone, like I said, an interior designer or an architect who can see like a random empty plot of land and be like, oh my God, I could build a mansion here and I could put the dining room there and I could put that there, or sees that empty room and is like, so let me put the table there and then the couch will go there. And the way they arrange it is so beautiful. So for some of you guys, you may have a beautiful gift for interior design or arrangement in some way. Third house as well is a communication house. So technically the other sign that's ruled by Mercury, which rules Gemini, the third house, is Virgo. So I've been mentioning Virgo energy throughout this reading, but Gemini is the other one ruled by Mercury, and both of them are great communicators, great socializers. They have a million interests. They can talk to literally anyone, make anyone feel comfortable, make anyone feel at home. I feel like socialization may be a soul mission gift for you, bringing people together, making people feel at home, making people feel like they belong, even if they initially felt out of place, and kind of seeing someone's, like I said, highest potential. So I also want to get into this deck for pile number 2. So we want to get some lessons, messages, wisdom for pile number 2. Protected by angels. You are cherished by the angels, okay? Let's get some more cards. Overcoming obstacles. Ooh, that one just flew out. You can overcome anything. Distant thunder, clear the air. And answering the call, the time is now. Okay, so I do feel like for you guys, you have a real ability to move past, again, initial, like someone telling you no. Like I feel like if someone tells you no or someone tells you it's not possible, you are that person that can see a million ways to actually make it happen. And you are that person who can push through resistance or even convince someone of something, even if they were like, listen, there's no way, I'm totally against it. You have that charisma that you can like turn their mind around on it. You're really great at like getting through to people, talking to people, connecting with people. Even if someone was initially like they don't like someone like you, or they look at you and they think, you know, that's not my kind of person. You could be that person who has enough charisma that you can convince them and make them realize that your idea is a good one, or that you should be someone they talk to, or whatever. So again, I feel like your charisma comes through really strongly as well, and the fact that you're very persuasive, the fact that you can get along with all different kinds of people. And it's interesting that we said protected by angels, because they are showing, you know, there's obviously lots of different angels, but Saint Michael, or Archangel Michael, is the one who usually comes through with a sword, and he is the protective angel. He's the one that you call upon when you're in danger or you need help of some kind of serious kind. And physical protection, that kind of a thing. So it's funny because there's other angels that are a lot more gentle, but Archangel Michael is that angel that will like fight someone and is literally depicted as fighting Satan and having him under his foot. And you know, it's a kind of violent scene, but that's a very famous scene of Archangel Michael. So again, I feel like it's that proof that sometimes people think the only way to be spiritual is to be like singing kumbaya and completely and totally like nice to everyone, and never getting mad, never getting offended, never having anything negative to say. And I feel like for you guys, you have a way of doing things that maybe to some they would feel like, oh my gosh, you're being too pushy, or you know, everything was calm and peaceful before you came around. But I feel like you have a disruptive quality where you are able to see what needs to be changed, what needs to be improved. And I feel like Spirit is saying for you not to hold yourself back on that, not to feel like, oh, let me try to be really nice about this, let me tiptoe around it. Like, your powerful energy, your powerful force of personality is a really good thing. And people, if they allow themselves to be changed, if they don't let their ego get away, can hugely benefit from your perspective and from the way you come in and call things out and call it like you see it, and you lay down the law in some ways. I feel like that is a huge blessing that people are lucky to be around. So that is what I have for you, pile number 2. I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I really love hearing from you guys. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of my content, head to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about messages from your inner child. That was the winner in the poll we just did, that you guys suggested topics over there. And the second runner-up is going to be where you'll be 4 years from now. So that's coming up very shortly, but there are over 75 exclusive readings you'll only get access to on Patreon. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description for Patreon. So also, if you want to get a private one-on-one session with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. If you're interested in me open channeling for you, or you have a specific question, it's your time to use, whether you want a half hour or a full hour-long reading to get to the bottom of whatever you're interested in your life. Whether you want me to use astrology, tarot, open channeling, whatever your kind of preferred method is, we keep it very open-ended. You get to decide what we get into in your reading. And like I said, if that sounds good to you, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, link in my description. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Now I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 3, welcome to your reading. So if you picked this crystal, this is going to be your reading. So let's get into your cards. I'm going to do a live shuffle. I used to do these a lot on my YouTube channel. I still do them on Patreon, but I was feeling really called to do that today. So let's see what your life mission is in this lifetime for pile number 3. So we got the 9 of Pentacles. We're not doing reversals today. The Knight of Wands. Okay, that one wants to come out. Ooh, 10 of Pentacles. Okay, Spirit is like, did I stutter? Let me bring you the same vibe to the cards. 6 of Cups, the World. Wow, look at these cards like flying out. This is kind of crazy. The Death card, the 8 of Wands, the King of Swords. What is pile number 3's life purpose? Okay, so we got the King of Cups. Wow, so one of your life purposes may be enjoying in this lifetime. It may be that this is a reward lifetime for you because, of course, with karma, with the Akashic records, not every lifetime has to be a really intense growth lifetime. Sometimes we can have lifetimes that are about enjoying ourselves, even accumulating wealth. That can be a life mission. I feel like that could be the case for you guys with the 9 and 10 of Pentacles. One of your life missions may be mastering the art of money. This could definitely apply if you have the North Node, especially in the second house of earned income or in the eighth house of shared income. Either way, there may be a wealth focus for you in this lifetime, especially if it's in the second house, as well as possibly in the 10th house of career. But for you guys, this may be about finding success. One of your life missions may be building success. It may also be about bringing the energy of luxury through towards others. So for some of you guys, this could be a great career path that would be in like a luxury field, like fashion or perfumes or jewelry or like luxury nice soaps, anything that has to do with the field of luxury, with kind of Taurus energy, feeling luxurious, feeling looked after, feeling beautiful, could be a life mission for you guys. Another life mission for you could be going out and enjoying social events, socializing, having fun at like a dinner party, having fun at a cocktail party, socializing with others, taking that time out to enjoy being around others, even to flirt, to kind of enjoy that art of socializing can be a life mission, life goal for you. Before your reading, I was hearing the word pheromones. So for some of you guys, a life mission may also be charming people romantically, using your feminine or masculine wiles to get people to pay attention to you or to bring people in some way. And there's also an emphasis on performing. So you may have a life mission connected to your charisma or your ability to get attention on a stage. We have the World card, which can definitely connect to like fame and performing for others, showing yourself to the world. So I feel like for you guys, this is your life mission, maybe a message you need to hear about not taking things as hard, not taking things as seriously. All the life missions are equally important. They all contain different sectors. I think sometimes in spirituality, we think of a life mission that it has to be like this really heavy energy, like the 12th house or the 8th house, like a service energy. It has to be doing something for the collective and it has to be very intense and spiritual. And but the reality is that we have 12 sectors of the zodiac chart. We have the early part of the zodiac chart, which is a little bit more self-focused. And sometimes those lessons may not seem as hard because maybe in our mind, it's easy to make money or just focus on the self. That's not a hard lesson, but it's an important energy to master. And being able to master the energy of money or the energy of being alone in this world, looking out for yourself, or the energy of socializing, going out with friends and talking to people, all of those are really important, valuable lessons to learn. And I feel like you are learning those lessons. And one of your life purposes, one of your life missions may even be to inspire others to do that. It may be that you are supposed to bring people out of their shell, make them have a little bit more fun, bring a little glamour or excitement to them. There can be a deep spiritual purpose of getting that woman who's been feeling really dejected and feeling kind of like burnt out, and maybe she just got divorced and she's a single mom or something. And even though people may think it's silly, if she walks into a clothing store and there's a clerk there and they just decide to like, let me put you in our nicest dress and I know exactly the color that's going to fit your skin tone, and let me put your hair into place and make you all dolled up. That may bring her confidence back and like reset her mojo and be a very spiritual, powerful event in her life. So I feel like for you guys, maybe you can see that potential. You may have a beautiful gift for aesthetics, for visuals, for seeing luxury in general. Even I could see some of you guys working in the field of like healthy glamour, so kind of like toxin-free beauty products, or toxin-free perfumes or scents, or maybe like sustainable clothing, or clothing that is not toxic against the skin, doesn't have heavy pesticides or anything like that. I feel like for you guys, one of your life missions or soul purposes is almost to like lighten people up, or help them enjoy things, help them to see the good in themselves, or even just to be a beautiful person yourself, to inspire others, because we get inspired by the beauty we see. That's why France has the world's, and I believe France is a Libra sun for their chart, so ruled by Venus. And it is France, it's such a beautiful place. Like the town squares, there's so much Venusian energy in France, I think, and they really take the time to make like their little tiny squares look beautiful, and put a fountain in every small town, and make sure that even if you go into whatever random pastry shop, they're going to take the time to make a beautiful croissant, or pastry. And same with Italy, and those are the two places with the highest tourism in the world year after year. So people crave that beauty energy. They crave that Venus energy. And I feel like you definitely have it in spades, pile number 3. You are someone who I think can see, there also may be a gentleness to like the way you talk to people. It may be that when you speak, you have a very melodious voice, because I'm also feeling like, for some of you guys, this could be about communication even, or putting messages through to the collective, but doing it in a way that's like sweeter and nicer and more diplomatic than them being like aggressive, or telling them something and being really forceful about it. It's kind of like, it's bringing to my mind that Mary Poppins quote, "A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down." And even Mary Poppins, like, she has that vibe where she would take care of kids, and she could have been, really harsh with them, and like ordered them around and been like, "Take your medicine." But she was so nice, and she inspired them to be imaginative. She had a gentle quality to her that I'm picking up on from you guys. So it's like, no matter what you're doing, even if you were to maybe talk about a difficult or controversial subject, you may communicate in a way that is very beautiful, very sweet, and very diplomatic. Being diplomats could be a soul mission for you as well, or even uniting people who are fighting within your family, within your friend group, bringing people together, throwing parties, making, allowing people to have fun, bringing fun out, charming people, even going on dates. I feel like there's something inspiring about dating you. Even if someone breaks up with you, you may have had those relationships where, like, some of you guys, your ex may go on to marry the next person they date. And you may be like, "Oh my God, what am I, like, cursed? Like, every time someone breaks up with me, they go get married within like a year." But I feel like there's something about you that's so inspiring. Like, you bring out this love energy that people who see you and are around you, it may make them be like, "I want to get married." Even if it's not to you, they may be like, "You know what? I got to get married," because pile number 3 was so charming. Pile number 3 was so inspiring that I have to find someone to spend my life with, because wow, it was a privilege to even get to know them. I feel like you also inspire people to like try more. Like, I feel like you're that person that you're kind of optimistic, or you're kind of positive thinking. So you may be that person that when someone else is like, "Oh, we can't do that," or like, "We're not going to be able to get into that club," or, "I don't know, I'm too old for this," you might be that person that's like, "No, you're not. Come on, let's do it." And you kind of push people to like, "No, let's book that trip to Rome," or "Let's go to New Zealand," or "Let's go flirt with those guys at the bar. We don't care that they're professional athletes and they probably want nothing to do with us. Let's go do it. And it'll be a fun story at least." And then like everyone's shocked because the professional athletes think you're really awesome, and buy you drinks all night or something, or really hit it off and they ask you on a date, or you go on the trip to New Zealand and you end up having a blast even though you didn't know anyone, and you went on a solo trip. You know what I mean? There's something about you that I feel like is supposed to inspire others to be optimistic and to go for it and to try for things and to be bold and look on the bright side a little bit. So let me get into some astrology dice. No, wait. We're going to pull cards next. We don't want to get out of order. Okay, so we're going to pull these cards for pile number 3. What is pile number 3's soul mission in this lifetime? What is pile 3's soul mission in this lifetime? Unexpected visitors. So definitely your soul mission may connect to socializing, commitments. Soul mission of yours may connect to finding your soulmates, having a twin flame or a soulmate you incarnated with that you're supposed to go through life with, or raising a family, having children, and being like an amazing parent that encourages them and is positive and optimistic towards them and tells them they can do whatever they want and gives them a really beautiful foundation to feel solid and safe and to go out into this world. So I feel like for some of you guys, creating a stable relationship, a beautiful, happy relationship could be another life mission of yours that you're supposed to pursue. And it could also be with strangers, people people you aren't as close with. Maybe they're not in your inner circle, but you could have that energy that you're supposed to like introduce people in the neighborhood, have everyone get along, throw dinner parties and everyone's meeting each other and they're all basking in this beautiful energy. I also feel like some of you guys, again, have a knack for aesthetics. So maybe you can see how to put together that dinner party and it's so beautiful and everything's arranged so nicely, or inviting people into your home for a party and they just feel so comfortable because your living room is arranged so well and everything is so pretty and the walls are painted nicely and the silver you bring out is lovely and it's just a wonderful scene, and the food is delicious and you just paid so much attention to detail. I feel like a lot of you guys have that vision for creating beauty wherever you go, maybe even putting together outfits, and that may really inspire people to bring more beauty into their life or to bring in that Venusian energy. Yeah. I feel like for some of you guys, this is about creating wealth as well, specifically creating a really nice lifestyle. And that could form a solid foundation, like I said, if you have kids, or it could just be something you're supposed to build and master for the sake of it, learning to stand on your own 2 feet, learning to master the energy of money, learning to transmute any family curses or generational curses about money, generational karma, that kind of a thing, breaking trauma patterns, around money specifically. So maybe you're supposed to be a bit of a leader in that way and kind of show people what's possible, because I'm hearing that there's people that are like, oh, that's not possible, or we couldn't do that, or there's no way that can happen. And then I kind of feel like you show that like it is possible. And actually it's easy, there's an optimism and a luckiness that runs through you. Let's get into some astrology dice for pile number 3. Okay, Sagittarius, what did I just say about luck and luckiness? Love that. So we have Sag, which is ruled by Jupiter, planet of luck and abundance. We have the moon, and then we have the 8th house. So we have Cancer, Sagittarius, Scorpio coming through. So let's start with Sag, aka Jupiter. Although actually I want to start with Cancer. They're telling me to start with Cancer, so I'm gonna listen. So Cancer is rules over the 4th house of family. Cancer is the mom of the zodiac. And again, I feel like for some of you guys, your life mission is connected to being a mom or a parent, raising people up, creating a family, teaching people, nurturing people. And I think a really great mom, not only is she kind of running around creating snacks, creating abundance, but she also often makes a really beautiful, safe feeling home, right? Like it's clean and it's a lot of times has a nice aesthetic to it. Like you can feel the difference in ambiance when you walk into like a plain, undecorated, kind of ugly home, or a really cluttered, nasty home that, is kind of dirty and hasn't been cleaned in a while. And the ambiance when you walk into a beautiful home. I'm thinking of one of my good friends who has Venus conjunct Jupiter in her natal chart, and keep seeing her in my mind throughout this reading. And she just has the most beautiful view of aesthetics. I love going to her house. It is literally like the best feeling, not just because it's like a nice house, but there's something about the way she puts things together. It literally feels magical. It almost feels like you're entering into a storybook or a picture or a painting. Like it just feels so magical and whimsical and safe. Like you could just feel like you could curl up on her couch for hours. And I often find when I go over to visit her that I will end up leaving like 8 hours later and being like, what just happened with the time? And she'll also do things like be like, oh, I'm so glad you came over. Like if you drop over unexpectedly, she'll be like, well, come have some tea. And I have these beautiful biscuits and I bought them. They're like imported from France. And like there's always like a fun story and it feels so whimsical and it feels so different, you know? And I feel like that is really like such a great mom energy to have, is like that creation of a home, because the fourth house, Cancer, is home energy as well. And I feel like the best moms, they do that. You know, they make you feel very safe. They make you feel, and that's kind of the solid foundation that kids can grow in, is that home that just feels very magical and different and safe and solid and peaceful, and also has an element of imagination to it. Also, because Cancer is a water sign, water signs are creative. So it kind of allows your imagination to run wild somehow. Like I said, something about the way she has all the rooms kind of have these different themes and have lots of paintings and have lots of designs, and it just really makes your imagination go on overdrive and makes you feel like you could write or you could create or you could take photos. So yeah, I feel like there's something about that with you guys. Then we also have the eighth house, speaking of creativity. That's another water sign, Scorpio energy. Eighth house is a house of other people's money, like I mentioned at the beginning. So it is a money house, but it's more so usually marrying into money. That could be a life purpose for you guys as well. I'm also seeing a heavy emphasis on the opposing second house, which is money you earn yourself. But I feel like being around luxury or abundance is a life mission for a lot of you guys. And with the eighth house, it could be about managing relationships, learning to compromise, learning to get along with someone, and, you know, that kind of balance with money where, you know, when you share assets, when you share income with someone, there's a lot of other things at stake. You can't just, be like, we got into an argument about dinner, so now we're dividing our assets. It kind of becomes much more complicated. You learn to have to compromise. So that could be another theme for you guys. And also, you have to charm the other person. When they have the money, they have the power, right? So you have to learn charm to kind of get what you want. You have to learn how to maybe gently nudge them into doing what you want with their money. So it can be a tricky house for that reason. And I'm not sure, this is a general reading. So for some of you guys, you may have a north node in the eighth house of other people's money, where that is a theme for you, is learning to manage other people's money and be delicate in all the kind of social dynamics that go into that. Or learning to make your own money, the second house, learning to stand on your own 2 feet and like, you're the one who calls the shots, but you also have to be the one to earn it. So yeah, there definitely is a connection to the eighth, second houses, that financial aspect, access for you guys. And we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a luck energy. It is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of blessings and abundance and expansion. And I love Jupiter energy. It's so optimistic. It's so positive. It really looks on the bright side. Another thing about Sagittarius is it loves to travel and explore, to learn things. So that could be another theme or another life mission for you, is to like explore and go new places and travel. Because I think that that's why we associate, or we, yeah, associate, I guess, correlate the ninth house of travel and learning to an optimistic energy. You kind of have to be optimistic, right, to travel, because there's so many things that could go wrong. There's so many things that could go absolutely horrible when you're traveling in a foreign country. So you kind of have to have that trust in the universe and like let things fly, even if you're not sure if your bag's going to be overweight, or if something could go wrong on the trip and it could be really bad, but you're kind of trusting that like God's got me. And so, yeah, I feel like for you guys, you have that blind faith, that blind optimism that Sagittarius has, that makes things magically work out really well. And one of your life missions may be inspiring others to travel, or showing people all the different cultures and the beauty of the world and all the different things they can explore. And it's a very imaginative energy as well. So some of you guys, again, probably have a very vivid imagination. I could see you having a life purpose related to communicating your imagination, like writing fiction or writing travel books or writing fabulous stories about, I don't know, princesses or something very like abundant and glamorous, that inspire people to like dream big. Let's get some message cards for pile number 3, and we want to know about pile number 3's life mission. First light. You are beginning a new cycle, grounding, go deep, explore your roots. Okay, let's see what other cards we're going to get for pile number 3. We got 2. Crossing bridges, it's time for healing, connecting, mending, and releasing, and transformation. A fresh new way of living emerges. And this one said, stepping into power, you are strong beyond measure. So this transformation card is really sticking out to me. I love the message, a fresh new way of living emerges. I feel like that really is a vibe for you, because in a way, I feel like you show people a different way of living, like a different way to go about things, where maybe, like I said, that Sagittarius energy of being open to new cultures, being open to a different way of doing things, being optimistic and wide-eyed and open to the world, not being closed off and scared, but being bold and bright and welcoming in all the new challenges. To me, that really sums up Sagittarius energy. And I think that's what Sagittarius can offer us, is like, it's such an optimistic sign, even though it's at the very tail end of the zodiac, which is usually when we start heading into like depression mode. Once we get to like Scorpio, things can get a little heavy feeling with Capricorn for sure, then Aquarius, both Saturn ruled, and then Pisces. We can definitely be in our feelings and it can be kind of sad and morose, but then there's Sagittarius right in the middle. Even though it's at the tail end dealing with these heavy subjects, Sagittarius is still so like optimistic, and they just are convinced it's all going to work out. And I feel like for you guys, that's what I love about it, is even though it does deal with the tail end of the zodiac, which is kind of the more heavier collective energies, Sag is still very positive minded. So it shows us that even dealing with the hardest things in life, the most heavy spiritual struggles, we can still put a positive mindset onto it. We can still look at things and find the good. And I feel like that's something you guys know, or you are supposed to bring through as a life mission, is like, yeah, life is hard and there are difficult things going on, but we can always find the good. We can always find the positive, the silver lining, even something, because again, thinking of that friend, she is the perfect person that if you called her up and were like, do you want to go get ice cream sundaes? She'd be like, yes, let's go get them. Like, there's something very kind of childlike about her. And in that way, it makes things seem so special, like it makes things that maybe a boring day where you felt jaded and you felt kind of like tired. But if you talk to her, there's something so like positive and excitable about her that you'll find yourself getting all, happy just to do the silliest, smallest thing. And I kind of feel like that's your vibe. Like, you make the everyday, the ordinary, into the extraordinary, into something special and fun and positive. And, that can be the value of like small luxuries, or about having your favorite food on a rough day, or about, going on a trip after you've been having a really hard time. It kind of brings the specialness, the sparkle back to life. And I feel like that's something you guys do really well is sparkle. I'm hearing Bejeweled by Taylor Swift, and I feel like that's the vibe is like, and she is a Sagittarius, so she definitely, understands that energy really well of like, I can bring my sparkle back anytime. I can turn it back on whenever I want to. So I feel like you live that way and you kind of inspire others to do the same. And ways that you can help seek out your life mission could be seeking out opportunities for you to sparkle, improving your wardrobe, helping others to improve their wardrobe. Maybe I could even feel like you guys in this pile, you may really inspire others, inspire women, help people see their value. You might be that friend that tells your friend like, girl, go try on that dress. It looks so good on you. Or like your friend who's feeling insecure being like, your body is banging. You look so good. Or even someone posts an Instagram photo and you're the first one to comment like heart eyes emoji. You know what I mean? And just kind of like gassing up others, being really positive, seeing the good in them. I feel like that's something you do so well, and it is a life mission. It may sound small or kind of silly or just you're just being a nice friend, but I actually feel like it is a really powerful spiritual mission, and you inspire others to like, you know what, maybe I do look kind of cute, and maybe I have been feeling kind of depressed or insecure lately, but you know what? That pile number 3 left that compliment, and actually, I do look really good in this picture. And so, yeah, I think your positive energy, it's so infectious. I love it, pile 3. And I think this is a huge life mission for you. So that's what I have for you. I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I really love, love, love hearing from you guys. I'd love to hear from you, pile 3. You have such a positive energy. So let me know what you think. I know you're gonna leave something nice and not mean. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button. And if you wanna see more of my readings, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about messages from your inner child. That was the #1 winner in the poll we did, and the runner-up is where you're gonna be in 4 years from now. And so that's coming very soon. But if you are interested in that or my 75 other exclusive readings you will only get on Patreon, you can go to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. You also will get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos, and we suggest new readings. You guys suggest new readings over there, and then we all vote on them. So it's very interactive. If all of that sounds good to you, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description for Patreon. Also, if you would like to get a private reading with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. Have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, just open channel for you. If you have specific questions, you can ask them. If you just want an open energy check-in and seeing what naturally comes through from the spirit realm, we can do that as well. So it's totally up to you how to use your time. If you're interested in that, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and book a session with me. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 4, so if you picked this rose quartz, this is going to be your reading. So let's get into your cards. We're going to do a live shuffle today. I used to do a lot of live shuffles, and I was feeling called to do it again today. I still do them over on my Patreon, but I figured let's bring them back. So we want to know about pile number 4's soul mission on this lifetime. We're not doing reversals today. We got the Knight of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, okay. What is pile number 4's soul mission? The King of Cups. So there's an element of hard work that you guys are going to have to demonstrate in this lifetime, overcoming certain things. I feel like there's sometimes maybe been rigidity or suffering you guys have had to go through. Look at this, the King of Pentacles. There's so much pentacle energy. Almost like sacrificing it you're going to have to make in this lifetime. Things that others may look at and be like, that's so unfair. Look, the Three of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. So there's an energy around you where at times situations may happen to you that seem really unfair. You may find them unfair, and others may find them unfair as well. Like they may hear your story and not to freak you out, pile number 4, but maybe like, oh my God, that's such a tragedy. Like some of you guys may have had twin flames or exes or soulmates that you couldn't be together with. And there was like sadness with that, or there's a sense of deep loss with that. But I also feel like that's part of your destiny or your soul purpose. Maybe you had a twin flame ex soulmate that you were not supposed to be with this lifetime because maybe y'all have repeated the same karmic cycle lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And this time you were like, no more. I'm not doing this toxic dance with you. I'm going to be on my own this lifetime, or I'm going to find someone new this lifetime. I'm not saying that's the case for all of you, but I feel like there's an energy with you this lifetime of really breaking through past dysfunctions or things that you used in other lifetimes as copes, like people, relationships that you have carried through in many lifetimes. And this lifetime, you're putting an end to it. You are being like, I refuse to engage in this anymore. Be it romantic connections, be it family connections, friend connections. I almost feel like there are people around you that they thought they were always going to be able to be in your life because they were in past lifetimes. And in past lifetimes, they may have treated you badly, but you tolerated it. You might, if you're really interested in this and someone is coming to your mind for this, you may do a synastry chart and see if you have any aspects from the South Node, especially to like harsher or more malefic energies. Like if you have a synastry connection with your South Node aspecting their Saturn or their Mars or their Pluto, there may have definitely been an aspect of toxicity or hard lessons or someone betraying someone, even something like Lilith or Chiron. So anyway, those are the placements that are coming to my mind. But I feel like for you guys, this is about you really like taking yourself out of it. Like, I'm out of the game. That's what I'm hearing in my mind. Someone like pushing themselves away from the table and almost like someone else being in shock because they're like, I thought you were always going to be there. I feel like this lifetime, you have really signed up to do the hard work. There are reward lifetimes, there are easy lifetimes. We can choose. Sometimes we vacillate. We're like, let me do the hard work in this lifetime and then I'm taking this one off. It depends. And we all get to choose between what do we really want to master in this lifetime? What would be the best for my soul growth? And I do feel like this is a hard work lifetime for you. Like, you signed up for like the whole enchilada. You are not trying to do things halfway or trying to like take the easy way out this lifetime or just chill in this lifetime. Like, you're like that person that signed up for like advanced calculus, in this lifetime. So I feel like for you, one of the things that is a life mission is hard work, something with your career. A lot of you guys are destined to have very important careers. Your career is going to be a major lifetime mission for you. Your career is something you are meant to really master. Some of you guys may have a North Node in like the 2nd house of earned income or the 10th house of career, or even the 6th house of daily routine. But I feel like for you guys, you are supposed to focus on and career schedule. You guys are supposed to focus on your career. There are certain things you are supposed to do in this career, in this lifetime, when it relates to your job. And for you, whatever career this is, mastering that, learning that, whatever comes up with that, getting success, turning into a bit of a leader when it comes to your career with the Hierophant here, the King of Pentacles coming out. And look, it's the Hierophant sandwich between the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles. Wow. Yeah, I feel like you're supposed to reach a level of mastery, leadership. People are going to really listen to the things you say. And whatever you do with your career is supposed to be impactful, change the world, give people guidance, help them in many ways. And you came to this planet wanting to work hard. Like I'm seeing someone like cracking their knuckles going like this because they are like, I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to let's go, you know. They're kind of like rubbing their hands together like, let me get started. Put me in, coach. Let's go. And I feel like you were raring to go in this lifetime. You may have even chosen to incarnate at such a pivotal time in human history because you were like, I want to be in the fight. I want to be in the collective. I want to be doing things because, you know, you could have incarnated at any other time. And from what I have heard, there is a long line to incarnate now because it's such a pivotal time in human history. And I feel like you guys really, you know, you may even be very spiritually ascended, or in past lifetimes, you also did work and you kind of earned your position. So when you were like, well, I want to come down incarnate, and there's a long line, they were like, no, 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 pile number 4, you come to the front of this line because we know you've done some other stuff in past lifetimes. I also feel like you've had a lot of other lifetimes of past suffering or hardship. You've gone through the ringer, you know, you have been through it. So they know you can handle this. I know that stinks. Sometimes it's like, so I'm the master of suffering. Oh, great. I'm so glad that's my skill. That's awesome. But truly, I think that you are a spiritually tough soul. It's giving me Capricorn vibes. We have all this earth energy. And of course, Capricorn is an earth sign, but all the earth signs have a toughness to them, a resilience to them. They are willing to persevere. They have a lot of patience. They're not just one of those signs that expects overnight success or expects easiness or it needs to happen now, or are impatient or silly and kind of overly optimistic. They're kind of like committed to like, yeah, it's going to take a long time. It's going to be hard. I'm willing to put the work in. I don't expect to get special treatment. And I feel like that's your energy. Like you are willing to dig in your heels and do the work. And I feel like for you, that's one of the reasons why if you did have a falling out with like a twin flame, ex soulmate, or a family member or a close friend that felt past life connection-y, you may have been like not willing to tolerate it because you are okay with the suffering. Someone else may cling to those relationships because they're like, I don't want to suffer. I'll just stay with this toxic twin flame because it's easier and I can't stand being alone. And I feel like you're like, I'm fine being alone. I'm fine growing. I signed up to grow. So you're taking those lessons and they're actually accelerating through you much faster. I also feel like you may be ending one twin flame ex soulmate relationship that you're supposed to separate from, and you're supposed to bring in a new one or bring in a new soul tribe, soul family in this lifetime. Like maybe you pick this lifetime and a soul mission for you in this lifetime is to kind of wipe the slate clean and form totally new soul relationships. But I feel like you're kind of like rewriting the script. This is actually really exciting. And it's weird. I have no idea why, but Spirit is showing me summer so vividly, which I think is the first time I see summer sometimes when I'm doing like timing readings, like, you know, what's the timing on this? Or if I'm doing a blessing reading and they show me summer, that's like harvest time. But most of the time when I see seasons in my mind, I'm very connected to the season of winter in my chart. So this is like interesting. They keep bringing through images of summer. And I feel like that message for you is that that's what summer represents to me, is the season of profusion, the season of abundance and happiness after you've withstood the depths of winter and spring and fall. You've gone through all the hardship, and we sometimes think if we stay in the safety zone, if we stay in the easy zone, we'll have blessings. But the reality is that it's the people willing to withstand winter that get to the summer, that get to the best summer. You know what I mean? And I feel like for you guys, you have been willing to do that. You've almost signed up. I'm hearing that quote that's like, something like, I was born in the fire, like someone saying like, oh, you're in the fire now, I was born in it. And I feel like that's been you. Like you may have had a lot of hard hits throughout your life. Some of you guys may have Saturn in major aspect to one of your big three. So Saturn aspecting your sun, moon, ascendant, or a Saturn ruled sun, moon, ascendant. So a Capricorn sun, moon, ascendant. I feel like you have a prominent Saturn in your chart that has kind of battered you and hammered you. And what I find find with a lot of Capricorn placements is it's almost like they're completely fine with it when you tell another sign, well, you're gonna have to like, yeah, you're not gonna date again for another year, but in a year you'll be able to date. A lot of people may be like, oh my God, a year? A year? A year? What do you mean? I'm ready. I need to meet him now. And you tell it to a Capricorn and they're completely unfazed. They'll be like, a year? Okay. That's fine. If you told them 5 years from now, they'd be like, okay. And it's almost like they have that discipline because they've been beaten up by Saturn so many times that their rose-colored glasses or their idea of like, oh my God, life is just so easy is completely gone. They have no illusions. They have no idea that just like, it's just gonna magically happen for me and I deserve it. They really understand that like, sometimes good things take suffering. Saturn has taught them that lesson so many times that they are just sometimes the best people to give a reading to because they are like so understanding of that, you know, it's okay for negativity to come through because that's just how life works. And I feel like for you, you have been dealing with that energy for a while. You may have had hard Saturn transits recently, like a Saturn return, Saturn transiting the first house, or Saturn stationing above like your big three, like Saturn stationing above your moon or your sun. I feel like a lot of you guys have had a very hard few years or just a hard life. A lot of Saturn placements, Capricorn placements, you know, up until that first Saturn return, they are just hammered by the energy of Saturn. They may have hard childhoods, they may have hard teen years, hard 20s, and it's just something that they just get so battered by it. But the funny thing is that after Saturn beats you up a lot, teaches you all these lessons, it does confer major blessings. And that's why actually a lot of astrologers see Saturn transits as a blessing and as something that like you get to reap the rewards so strong after, because Saturn teaches you all the things you need to let go of, all the things you need to change. And when it leaves, you're so much more better equipped for that. So I feel like for you guys, you are maybe in this lifetime, you signed up to suffer, but you also signed up to clean up that life. And then once it's over, the blessings come out. And I feel like when Spirit is showing me this summer image, it's almost saying like you have been taking on these lessons. And even though this isn't like a time related reading, like it's not a what's happening next in your life type reading, I still feel like Spirit is giving you that message that you have passed a lot of these tests. And for some of you guys, you're already ready to transition into better blessings and good things. And I do feel like for a lot of you guys, the pain, especially if you have let go of deep relationships, twin flames, exes, soulmates, family members, friends, if you have let go of people that felt past life vibey to you, if you've let go of people that you had that instant kind of past life connection with, I feel like you may be bringing in totally new people, like a totally new cast of characters. You know what's funny that Spirit is showing me? Spirit really has a sense of humor. They're showing me like, I guess it's Mean Girls, but you know how they like recast, but they kept like the exact same story. They copied like everything. They're so unoriginal in Hollywood. It's kind of hilarious how like they just literally cannot write any new movie and they keep doing all these stupid remakes. But you know how like people were complaining about the new Mean Girls and about like how like they don't like the casting, they don't like the new wardrobe and all this stuff. But in your situation, this is a good thing. It's kind of like you recast the movie and like, you know, it's like the same story or the same person at the center, but a totally new supporting cast. You know, I feel like you are having like new people enter in. You are having like a new version that's kind of going to shock people. It's kind of like if like a TV show had a cast and then they just suddenly recast everyone in it except for like the one main character. And everyone's like, wait, who? Okay, that kind of looks like Ben, but it's not quite. Okay, well, and I guess that's Cassandra. Okay, yeah, whatever. But, you know, I feel like that's something you chose is you're like, I don't want to live out these same patterns. I don't want to live out this same history or this same been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, like storyline over and over. That's happened in my family line or happened in my other lifetimes. I'm ready to create a new life. And I feel like there's certain people in your life that aren't okay with that. But you are really, I think, breaking incredible generational curses, generational karma, and past life karma and past life curses. Let's get some more cards for pile number 4 for what their life mission is in this lifetime, their soul mission. Protecting treasure, okay. And I just love like that they're showing this girl underneath this umbrella. Like I feel like the vibe here is like she's so okay with the rain, you know? Like whereas other people they may go inside, they may be like, "Let me get out of this rain entirely." She's just kind of laying there chilling. She's half under the umbrella, but she's also letting the rain hit her. It's bringing to my mind that Hilary Duff song where she says, "Let the rain fall down and break my tears" or something. But yeah, I feel like you guys, you've kind of accepted it. Like you've accepted that the rain is going to happen, that the mountains are going to happen, that you're going to have to push yourself, that the hardship is going to come, and I'm okay with that. And I feel like because of that, oh my God, magical map shifter, that's perfect. You are shifting your map of your life. You are shifting, deep karma and deep destinies and deep things that people thought were always going to be in your family line or people thought was always going to be in your karmic energetic field. You are moving away from them. You are completely rewriting the map, rewriting the path and everything that people thought was going to be around you forever. I just love this. I love this. There's so much movement happening. There's so much transmutation, I guess I should say, of past BS around you. And I feel like you're really wiping the slate completely clean. And you've accepted the hardship from spirit. So much of this, it's like you've already cleaned it out and you're ready for the blessings now. So I think part of your soul destiny you've already achieved, which is like getting out the old, and now you're ready for spirits to bring in the new. So if you have had your Saturn return already, or if you've had a major Saturn transit, you may be ready for a totally new cast of characters, new blessings, new relationships. And it's going to happen at a time when you're like, I've given up everything. I guess I can't have a boyfriend. Great, my relationships all fell through. That's going to be the moment when you have so many blessings come as a surprise, because Saturn takes away and then it gives. Saturn destroys and breaks you to bring in the new. And so that's what may have already been happening and in process in your life, pile number 4. So let's get some astrology dice for pile 4 about their soul mission in this lifetime. We got Mars, the 11th house, Aquarius, double Aquarius. Okay, let's spin it one more time because I hate the double signs. Libra. Okay, so we have Libra, the 7th house, Aquarius, Mars, Aries. So we have Aries, Aquarius, Libra represented. So with Libra, this may have to do with romantic love relationships. I feel like there was a romantic love relationship that you really put your foot down about and you were like, no more, I'm not tolerating it. There was a romantic love relationship where someone thought you were always going to stick around because they may have mistreated you in past lifetimes. They may have taken advantage of you, or they may have looked down on you, or just thought, they'll put up with it. I'm a catch. They'll be around. And I feel like you were like, I'm not sticking around anymore. And this person, I feel like, was shocked because of your past life history that's deep in this person's subconscious. They really thought they could treat you any kind of way. And then I feel like you were like, I'm out. Bye. It could even be with family members, friends, again, but this would be someone that you felt that past life connection with. So not someone that you necessarily just happen to get along with, but someone that you really felt that instant. That's how you can tell a past life connection. It's often instant, it's overwhelming. You just already know each other, or it's just so deep. You feel like we knew each other in past lifetimes. You know it in your heart. And I feel like there's a connection with that, be it romantic or non-romantic, that you just put your foot down and you walked away from. And I feel like that was something that really surprised this person, took them by shock. They were like, couldn't believe that you would walk away from this. They thought you were going to be around forever. And I feel like you really decided that you weren't being treated right, or you were ready to rewrite this. And so for that reason, some of you guys may be creating totally new families, totally new romantic relationships, totally new dynamics. Look, it's just reset to Aquarius. That's funny. I dropped it accidentally, but I guess they really want me to talk about Aquarius. So we'll get to that, but totally new dynamics in your life and a totally new story for yourself. So let's talk about Aquarius, since they really want us to get to Aquarius. So Aquarius is the 11th house of hopes and wishes and dreams. It's also the house of large groups and larger relationships you have, like acquaintances, friends on the peripheral, those kinds of things. So it's also an energy that's ruled by Uranus, which is marching to the beat of your own drum. So I feel like there may be an energy for you with marching to the beat of your own drum, doing something different and unexpected. What's really coming through strongly is the 11th house of hopes and wishes. So for some of you guys, this is wishes coming through. This is the fact that you're getting a reward after Saturn hammered you. And it's funny because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. It's co-ruled by Saturn. Its modern ruler is Uranus, but its ancient ruler is Saturn. So for some of you guys, like I said, lest you think that Saturn is just mean old Saturn, it also rules the 11th house of dreams coming true and amazing hopes and wishes. So truly, it's not just BS. Saturn does give blessings. And for you guys, since you have already passed Saturn's test, depending on where you are in that cycle, obviously, if you're still playing out those same past life dynamics and you haven't made a certain changes and you haven't had your, butt kicked by Saturn a bunch of times, then you may not be ready yet. But at a certain point, I feel like once you guys have withstood the hardship, trust and believe you're going to get blessed so big time. Pile 4, you are going to have huge blessings come in. And I really do feel like it's going to come in at a point when you feel like you've lost it all, or everything's been pointless, or, oh my God, what am I doing in my life? And that's when the blessings are going to come in, because Saturn really likes to humble you first, kick your behind. I always think of Saturn as like a boot camp, or like a drill sergeant in the military that's going to make you do, 1,000 push-ups and make you like run laps until you throw up, and, push you to the point where you just feel like you're exhausted and you've given everything and almost like you're worthless. There's like a very strong humbling and deconstruction energy in Saturn. But at the end, you realize, oh my God, I made it through. And there's an inner power, and then there's a blessing. And then it's like that drill sergeant sees that you withstood it, and they promote you and you level up. So I know it's hard, but it's also a big blessing. Then we have Mars. Again, there may be conflict that you have to face throughout your life. There may be feelings that, people just come against you randomly, random conflict, random attacks from out of nowhere. That's definitely a Mars energy. Part of this is about you showing that you can persevere. Part of this is showing that you're not going to give up. You're going to keep going. You're going to push yourself. That is how you're going to get your blessings. And you are showing the world that you're not going to run scared. You're not going to take the easy way out in this lifetime. You're willing to face the hardship and the difficulty and face it head on. And that is part of your soul mission. So let's get some messages for pile number 4. What messages do we have for pile 4 about their soul mission? So we got choose your path, all is possible, joy and delight, open your heart to joy. Protected by angels. You are cherished by the angels and finding sanctuary, opening to your spiritual source. Let me get, 2 came out. Passion and pleasure, savor your life, and in the flow, everything is smooth sailing. So some really positive cards to end this reading. So honestly, it may show that for some of you guys, you may have already passed through that point of the hardship. I'm seeing the image of a ship going through like a really narrow strait filled with like rocks on either side. And then finally that opening up, that nasty little section of rocks where there's lots of shipwrecks opening up and then moving past it into like a beautiful open ocean, and the sun is shining and it's much safer. So I feel like for you guys, there's an energy of having to prove yourself, having to push through the hardship, having to redo those deeply rooted spiritual connections. Because the thing is, when we have a past life connection, and this doesn't even have to be only about relationships, it can be about past life tendencies. In past lives we exhibited certain behavior, we had certain ways of going about things, and now we're being called to really push past that, really redo that, really choose a new path, and really reinvent ourselves and realize our own capacity for change. But whenever we're redoing that, it's hard. It's kind of like we're used to doing things a certain way. You know, when you deal with sometimes like older people, and you'll be like, so you can, you know, if you need to change the channel on your TV, you can just press this on the remote, and they'll get like mad at you because they're like, I've always been doing it this way. I don't want to learn that. It's hard for us to learn something new. It can feel overwhelming or difficult, and especially when it's so deeply ingrained in our soul because we did it in past lifetimes. But I feel like for you guys, you are so committing to this, you're so open to relearning and to creating a new life for yourself, a happier life, not repeating the mistakes you made in past lifetimes. So yeah, I think pile 4, you sign up for the big lesson in this lifetime. You are making huge moves, and you're really redoing some very powerful things. So I am very proud of you, pile 4. Let me know in the comments how this resonated for you. Give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about messages from your inner child, and that was the winner in the poll we did with suggestions from you guys on Patreon. And the second runner-up is where you're going to be in 4 years. So that's going to be the next topic we do. And if you're interested, you will also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos, as well as over 75 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon. And you guys get to suggest new topics, vote on them. So there's interaction. There's lots of stuff on Patreon. If you're interested, go on over to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. Have me just open channel for you, ask me specific questions. You can get a tarot reading, astrology reading, a mediumship session, and you can pick your time that you want for it. So yeah, if all of that sounds good to you and you want to book a session with me, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.